Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and whoever you might be. My name is Babel, and this is an episode zero-ish of the, I guess, reconstituted radio tower broadcast. It's been a while. It's been like a few good years. I think about half a decade since I stopped making these. And not much really has changed. So, to get everybody back up to speed as to what happened between then and now. So, the page admin days, back in the good days, back when everything was still fine. The snapshot of how things were basically. Being in the whole K smug response esque like sphere niche, or whatever you want to call it. I was just like one of many people there, having a good time, enjoying ourselves and all that. That those days have come and gone. Everybody has more or less kind of gone about their own business. And as it pertains to me, I more or less went back to work and working retail for about well, some would say the better part. I would say the worst part of about 7 years or so, almost 8. Kind of ass if you ask me. I got a college degree in that time, becoming a practical software engineer, a job which I'm seeing is rapidly being replaced by AI because code monkeys are being very slowly phased out by technology, which sucks. It does really suck, but that's just what it is. So, in terms of the whole internet sphere, where have we been? What happened? Well, I lost steam. The 95 grind kind of killed me mentally. It dumbed me down for a solid time. And I feel as though I lost a part of my soul during that time. COVID came and went, and because of the Pfizer injections, I have had heart complications. Now, that was both a blessing and a curse, because it was a curse due to the fact that, well, duh, heart complications, and a blessing because I managed to get into college and get that aforementioned degree. A degree that I was not able to use because I kind of suck at reaching out and doing these things. I have social issues in the sense that it's kind of hard for me to reach out and talk to motherfuckers. I lost college friendships because of that, which is a bit of a shame. But I choose not to let that deter me too much. Most people would say that you should stay consistent, that you should keep going. And I'm guessing this is my attempt in doing so. I'm guessing I'm getting all of that out of the way before, like, getting into the more conventional podcastery, as it were. Before I actually invite some friends and have a conversation about whatever topic, or just, you know, ramble on my own as I do right here. And incoherent as I may come off, I hope that somebody somewhere, somehow, at some point in time, may glean either advice, motivation, what to do, what not to do, from these conversations, monologues, whatever they may be. I kind of rambled a little bit about my personal affairs here, and that's kind of the past, I guess. The past 7 to 8 years were just a lot of work, a lot of mental decay, and a lot of soul searching. And this brings us to today. Today, yesterday, the past few days have been kind of weird for me. I've come to a realization, I guess. Some might think it's grim. For me, I just think it's more of a matter of fact in some sense. I realize that I don't know how much it's true for other people, but for myself, most paths that I could take are equal parts just gambling. What I mean by this is it's a gamble doing anything, really, for one's own benefit, be it material, spiritual, financial, societal, what have you, right? Like, for the most part, a person who does things would want to do it for a specific set of purposes. It would be either to gain status, to gain some kind of financial benefit, which also falls into a material benefit, or to do it for some sort of self realization. For me, it's, I guess, the latter, because in a material sense, I have been kind of stuck by my own fault, by the way. I'm not faulting here anybody. I'm not here to come out to blame society or to tell you that this this singular issue or that singular issue is the source of all the world's problems, right? I came here as a result of a few things, or rather came back here as a result of a few things. As of a few days ago, I had a very strangely quiet mental breakdown. And I'm being fully upfront with you when I say this. I've had I've had a very strange form of soul searching up until recently. And as a result, I've gained energy and a very bizarre sense of drive to do things that I previously wanted to do. Again, those things being generally just speaking, community building, or at the very least trying to build some semblance of a community, and bringing the lessons that I have learned by being, well, proverbially curb stomped to other people so that they may see this, glean from this, and hopefully realize the things I realize now before it's too late. As a lot of people, uh as a lot of people would realize such things, at least from what I've heard. People realize this in their 40s, their 30s, their 50s, etc. I'm 29, and I realize these things now. I realize a few key things. Number one is that life's a gamble. Now, I'm not saying, don't do things because chances are, etc., etc., right? No, I'm not here to tell you that. I'm here to say that you don't really have that much certainty in life. You can do things, and these things would have varying degrees of certainty. You can go to work, and that would should you follow a set of prescribed motions and behaviors, net you an income, which is good. Uh, you could, I don't know, take riskier, less consistent avenues and try to glean some benefit from that, i.e., content creation, influencing, business ventures, and so on and so forth. And at the end of the day, you can do these things, none of which are guaranteed to you. A person could go to work and, by the whims of their boss, get fired, or by some mistake of their own making, or just because the company doesn't want to have anybody, or again, 1,001 reasons for 1,001 problems, which I'm not smart enough to really answer here. I can only peck and analyze what I've seen. And I haven't seen much. I'll be quite upfront with you. I haven't seen that much. Which is kind of weird to say coming into a renewed podcast, coming in with a full negativity of sorts, saying, "Oh, wait a minute. You're coming here to talk to us and you're telling us that you don't know anything? That you have no experience, that you have nothing to you? Why should we listen to you?" I'm not saying you should. I'm not saying you should. This is a prelude, and it is strictly here to set not a tone. The tone will be different. The tone will be 100% different because there will be people, there will be laughter, there will be memes, there will be jokes, there'll be all that good shit. But from me personally, me specifically, me, Babel, my mindset is that of everything is, and that's about it. Like, it's just is. There's no it's good, it's bad, it'll be good, it'll be worse. It just is, okay? Right now, we're standing at a situation where the economy is gearing up to undergo substantial changes. We're undergoing another, at least in my eyes, a new form of digitally driven industrial revolution of sorts. Now, how accurate that would be, I'm not sure. Hindsight is 2020, and I'm just here peering like out the window, seeing, hey, things are going on, and this is what they might indicate, right? So for me, at the very least, it seems like a lot of what people do nowadays is becoming kind of redundant. And in that redundancy, a lot of people seem to be losing their sense of purpose. Now, this shouldn't really come as a surprise to anybody. It's kind of weird for me to like. Again, I'm a Warhammer nerd, and so like a bunch of the quotes that I would make were kind of sourced out of Warhammer. So I hope to God you'll bear with me. At least I'm not like out fucking Star Wars nerding it or whatever, or like Lord of the Ringsing it, I guess, if that's any consolation. But in the book, I think the mirror cracked, or the image, or the reflection cracked. There was a line that was said by Fulgrim, where he kind of like initially when I read it, well, I didn't really read the book. I read that excerpt specifically where he was tortured. He told his captains about the nature of reality. He said one line that kind of flew over my head initially, but now that I think back to it, I kind of realize that he had a point to an extent. Now, Fulgrim, one being tortured, said to his sons that the reality of the universe is that it does progress towards a endpoint. And that endpoint is complexity. Complexity is, at least according to what he intended, is the vector by which all things are moving. So, for example, at the beginning of the universe, particles coalesced into more complex structures and created different elements and celestial bodies and etc., etc. Like, for example, we are very much complex forms of very simple materials. And you don't have to take this into like a fucking physics-based level to see it in a day-to-day. So you can, if you're a bit older than people born in like Y2K, like if you're not a post-2000s baby, you may have seen it and you may just understand what exactly I'm talking about. And this is to do with the, for lack of a better word, complexification of the things you see around you. Back in the day, things were relatively simple, and this is coming from the perspective of a person born in 1996, right? So I was born and formed memories pre 9/11, and for me, at least, the world initially was relatively simple. Was it because I was a child and I didn't really know what was going on? Maybe, sure, that's parts that, but also the fact that there were a lot less subsystems in place. Now that I look back at things and compare and contrast them to today, there were a lot less systems in place for basically the same outcome. So nowadays, you had sites. You have sites, basically, you have YouTube, you have TikTok, you have all these things, right? And all these sites basically strive towards, driving views. And when you look back a few years, right? When you look back into the old layout YouTube, and by old layout, I don't mean like these micro changes that exist. I'm looking at specifically like yellow subscribe button era YouTube, where back when the logo broadcast yourself was still there, you know, the old spirit of YouTube of any man who realistically just wants to show stuff to the world and pick himself up and just show stuff, you know? That person nowadays will not receive the same, I guess, traction, treatment, attention, etc., as he would back then. But also, the uploader's mindset sort of changed between then and now. Because back then, the whole broadcast yourself ideal was kind of like a social thing. It was more like, you know, John from the park saying, hey, dude, I just saw these birds migrating, and it's like so awesome. Like, look at this stuff. And he shows you this, you know, just this local park, and you see like a whole bunch of cool birds that he saw, and he's like, oh, check this out. You don't see these often. Like, for example, if I were to go outside and be like, you know, there's green parrots flying around, and you don't see parrots around often, which is really neat. You know, I could do that. And, you know, that could be something. But nowadays, it's the mindset behind it is different, and the expectations are different. Because, well, YouTube has been commercialized, which, again, good or bad, I'm not here to cast judgment. I'm not here to get political with you, because I just realized that politics are just such a fucking bore. It's such a bother. It's a massive fucking grift. For the most part. Like, again, there is a place for politics. There is there are avenues for politics, and there is certainly a place for politics on social media and all that stuff. Because at the end of the day, you ought be able to gauge the public's political predispositions. But that's a side tangent. Let me just get a drink of water real quick. As I will not be editing this recording, this one is absolutely raw and will be put up just as is. As will, I believe, a few of the first ones until I figure out how the editing nonsense works. Because I believe I should learn how to edit. So, a difference between the attitudes of uploaders and viewers. Uploaders nowadays have kind of, I guess, been fed the idea that YouTube is now an economic opportunity, which, in all fairness, it kind of is nowadays. You can 100% become a YouTuber full-time and get like a paycheck and all that stuff. There's now full systems, and Google will give you all this AdSense money, sponsorships, and whatever other avenue of income you choose to have. The same goes with Twitch, which was once just in TV, and you had the whole gaming-centered stuff, and nowadays it's a lot more diverse, and now there's this whole mess going on over there, and it's alternative platforms, Kick, and YouTube streaming, and whatnot. The crux of the point that I'm trying to get at is things changed. It's a lot less of, fellas doing their own thing, and a lot more people, a lot more of the people are now getting into this thing out of like some economic interest, which is also understandable. You think to yourself that if you're just a dude, right, you're not particularly, and let's be real here, okay? Let's not try to sugarcoat and say everybody's special, everybody's unique. No, that's no. Gen Alpha terminology is not going to help us fix our problems. We'll use plain English, okay? I know some people might shirk from this, but let's use plain English. If you're not too bright, if you're not too extroverted, if you're not willing to reach out, even if you can do stuff and you can show that you can do stuff, you're kind of shit out of luck in the professional space. And compounded with the fact that now that social media is basically everywhere and everyone's on Instagram, on TikTok, and, even boomers sit there and watch like short reels and whatnot, you tend to see a lot of people who are younger than you, or your age, or, again, if you're in my age bracket, you see people your age or younger succeeding in this space, and it hurts you if you are bright enough to understand what this means. I'm not saying that people came there instantly, of course, that's, again, I'm not here casting envy at anybody. As cathartic as it may feel to do so, there's no sense in shouting and putting up 2 minutes of hate and saying, well, it's all so awful that these people are succeeding instead of doing normal work and whatnot. Look, the economies have changed. Value has changed, and the price of varying things have changed. Attention, information, and social pull have become very much a commodity in and of themselves, rather. And these commodities are now in hot demand because the population isn't exactly shrinking. It's not really. You see, the civilized world represents about, I guess, 7 to 10% of the population on Earth. And that civilized population is shrinking. But the other parts of the world aren't exactly following suit. You see, places such as Japan and China, yes, they do shrink in population. So does South Korea. but the other less well-to-do parts of the world are making up for it. I guess I can talk about this another time because, again, pragmatic reasons, somebody needs to talk about it in a separate episode because, it's nice digestible chunks of information for people who want to watch it. This is just an introductory to a otherwise unremarkable podcast in the main host's opinion. It's a very counterintuitive thing for me to do, but I believe that candidness trumps everything else. I really don't want to provide an illusion for anybody about what I am doing here, about what I guess anybody in my position might want to do. And I also don't want you, if you have any interests in pursuing something, anything really, that is constructive or productive or artistic or whatever, right? As long as you don't harm anybody, and you want to do like a pursuit where it's, you want to make something or code something or build something or anything really, you want to become a psychologist, you want to become whatever. Don't be put under the illusion that you are guaranteed anything in life, okay? I'm coming into this with the full knowledge that I am some wasted piece of opportunity that has, I guess, passed his, well, in the internet sense, past his prime, because anybody older than fucking 20 is considered a fossil nowadays on the internet. I don't really give a shit. I don't think that's the truth. I'm a believer of old man energy. That's about the tangent of why content, who content, when content, whatever. Now, sticking to my incoherent rambling shtick, what I'm doing here and why this podcast is being brought back is, I guess, kind of a few-fold thing. And number one is that oftentimes, me personally, but a lot of people don't really get an opportunity to speak honestly about things and, really put word to either paper, print, anything really. Or just speaking it out on video like I do. A lot of people just tend to keep it to themselves, and I do this specifically as an exercise in both speech, as an exercise in coherence, and as an exercise in some form of public speaking. Some of my IRLs and mutuals may see this, because, again, I'm probably going to preface this video by a request for anybody who knows me from college and whatnot to leave the channel, because the content that I post here does not concern them. It should not interest them. They are living good lives. They have jobs befitting the college titles they found. Or rather, a lot of them went to quality assurance, which does not require this degree, and simply proves that I guess my concerns were somewhat vindicated in a way. Because, as was shown, the working quality assurance after studying for 2 years is, you could have just taken a quality assurance course instead of just gotten it over with. If that was the plan anyways. Like, even the guy who went to like the military company, the guy who I should have kept in contact with, but I was too introverted to do so, went to quality assurance, which, again, no offense to you, great company. I hope to God you move ahead. I really do. I wish everybody the best because they tried and they got somewhere. They got a foot in the door, even if it was something that seems very like pedestrian, for lack of a better word. I still wish you all the best. I really do. I harbor no harm, no envy, nothing. Trust. I only blame myself for not following suit and not really reaching out to employers and, going as hard as I could, because I did try, and everywhere I went, it was basically some kind of, we don't want you. We're not looking for somebody of your type, your caliber, as it were. And that did, in fact, discourage me. It did. I'm not going to say it didn't. It discouraged me greatly, and I haven't written a single line of code for like 2 years. So you can imagine how out of shape I am in terms of my supposed profession, right? And not that I really have any desire to become a programmer. After seeing what programmers have become, like, as people, right? As people, it seems that they've been grounded to dust mentally. Like, more, not exactly the same way as people in, like, lower end jobs like factories, retails, and so on. But they have been taught to do more elaborate motions and yet still somehow end up soulless. And it scared me. So the first fold part is, I guess, I want to learn to speak and become better at it. Because after all, our voices are all we have in the end, and what we've written, what we've said, is what's going to be left, you know? Which brings us into the second part of why I'm restoring the podcast and any other videos that may come on this channel. It's a very elaborate suicide note. Like, I don't want to panic anybody. I don't want to alarm anyone. 32 minutes in, to say that you are planning on, getting your affairs in order and you're, saying your piece before you leave is kind of weird. But that's kind of like one part of why I'm doing this. Because if I do leave, I certainly want to at the very least leave my thoughts behind. I want people to know what thought process led up to where I am. This is parts this podcast where I will put my thoughts on, I guess, a semi-regular basis of sorts. Kind of like an auto therapy. Maybe I won't leave, but for now, considering the fact that there is no light at the end of the tunnel, it doesn't seem so unlikely. Still, for what it's worth, I'm not guaranteeing that I will. Again, life's a gamble. Maybe I won't leave. Maybe things will get better from now. Again, I'm not like Nostradamus, I'm not Baba Vanga, I'm not telling you that I can see the future and tell you that, oh, shit's gonna be so fucking horrible for everyone involved. No, you never know. Maybe somehow somebody will revive or invent some economic theory that'll solve all of our issues. Maybe somebody will, I don't know, introduce some policy that would restructure man's sense of purpose. Maybe. Or maybe, the whole, like, oh, it gets worse type of shit prevails in the end, but who am I to say? I'm just an idiot on the internet, and I speak my piece because what else is there for me to do? For now, I don't have any engaging gameplay to put in front of this recording and turn it into a commentary video, or, what have you, right? So, but by the time that happens, maybe I'll like rebrand or something. I'll figure something out. But for now, the core essence of this is to leave a few words on the internet because the internet is forever. Leave a few words, say my piece, so that should anything happen, because as it often is with suicides, people often ask what the person who did it was thinking. Like, what led them to this place? You know, they can extrapolate meaning from their actions. They could, I don't know, read some like document somebody wrote in the heat of the moment or like shortly before they did it when they were suffering, you know, the mental break they had. I don't want to do that. I want to preempt it. I want to give a fuller picture, both not just of me specifically, because that I get kind of narcissistic. That's why I don't really want to say like, oh, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this because I'm important and I'm the main character. I was never the main character, dude. The main character gets shit done and gets shit. I get shit on. I'm not the fucking main character, dude. I'm an extra in my own fucking life. And, you know, that's fine. I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like coping. Maybe I've fallen so hard in the pit that I've kind of lost grip of the sides and I don't know how to get out. But that's irrelevant. I would like to leave these words behind as I guess as a message to those people who might want a fuller picture of somebody living in this time, the year 2025, in the what's it called, the Julian calendar. I don't fucking know if anybody like changes the calendars or whatever the fuck or how long shit stays because I know I know like electronic data saving methods like hard disks and solid state drives also decay with time, and you do have to switch shit around every now and then, so you'll never know. You never know what stays and what's gone. And again, same deal, a fucking gamble. I'd much rather leave a few words. Maybe somebody will, you know, hear them, glean something from them. If I do, in fact, manage to have kids, maybe they would like a piece of advice from, you know, from dad, grandpa, great grandpa, whatever the fuck, you know? And that's, reason one was speech, reason two was death, and the third reason is because there's nobody else to talk to. It's just plain and simple. A lot of people have been atomized and put aside by the advancement of technology, whether by design or just as a byproduct of technological advancement. We become a lot more remote, a lot less close. And many people resort to electronic communication to feel any degree of closeness. That's a bit of a shame. It really is. And it is my belief that you should not just, you know, pursue physical closeness with the people around you, but you should seek, I guess, the opportunity to speak to those people like minded to you. Because now in this globalized world, we're we find ourselves kind of, I guess, able to reach out to many people going through similar things to what we do. Even if it's a rare thing, even if it's a rare thing that we're going through, whatever it may be, because of the fact that we now have global communications for the most part, we can build these communities that we've been missing around much more niche aspects. And these aspects can, I guess, be a good thing. Like, for example, me, right? For fuck's sake, I'm already contradicting the whole narcissism point, but bear with me, okay? I'm using myself as an example because, again, I kind of brought myself forward here doing these things. And I'd really like to explain myself before moving forward, just so you'll have, I guess you'll have like a place to point the finger at going, oh, well, he said this back then, and, I'd like to get it out of the way first. So, for example, me, right? I'm just somebody who's lost and out of purpose, finding that the things that I'm being told to do don't exactly net anything akin to what was promised to me. And even if I do score the things that I was promised, advancement and getting getting ahead in these smaller circles of like profession become less and less likely, you know? A lot of the times I'm seeing that tech companies are the rigid ones are like these monoliths that are nigh inaccessible to the layman. I'm calling myself a layman, by the way. Like, I'm not special by any means. I don't even think the IQ assessment I was given was like at all accurate, because being verbose being verbose is not an indicator of intelligence. You don't have to speak eloquently to be smart. If you know, then you know. It's that simple. But unfortunately, communication is massive in this world. And nowadays, brief, I guess you need brief quips, you need digestible content, and the few people who do know how to filter their complex sentences and thoughts into these thoughts, into these quips, they prosper in this economy. In any economy, really, because you respect their time, you respect your own time, you spend less time explaining yourself and more time doing. I think I'll cut that tangent here for now. I think I'll cut away that tangent for now. This episode, I guess I'll label it like episode 0 or -1 or whatever the fuck, is a hello and a welcome back to anybody who was concerned. This channel is a place that I have accidentally opened up to people I know in real life. This is a place that will be used as my own personal Etch-a-Sketch. It is a place, much like any other channel, much like any other unnamed individual on the internet. We all speak into our microphones in front of a camera, or no camera, depending. And we all have our own gripes, our own concerns, our own worries, and everything. And most people don't have time for everything and everyone. Not everyone's going to be represented. Not everyone's going to be important. Not everybody's going to be successful. No matter how much you want to believe that everybody deserves success, not everybody is going to get it. Somebody's best efforts are equivalent to somebody's worst efforts. Somebody's amazing work combined with dog shit luck is equivalent to the worst slop imaginable with amazing fortunes. That's just how it is. That's the world. That's life. And at the very least, we the dead would like to speak. That's it. We just want to talk. We just want to say our piece. All right? No one's gonna remember us. No one's gonna give a shit about us. Nobody fucking cares, okay? We're just dead men walking. People who are better off mute or better off silenced. Most people have resigned themselves. Most people have put themselves in a position where they don't think, in a position where they don't have to consider their own position or their own mind or how they feel about things or why they're doing the things they're doing, either by necessity, by comfort, or any other reason. Leaving any critical thinking, any opinion about the wider picture to other people, be it because they think they're more qualified, be it because they don't want to think about it, or they just don't. That's fine. That's okay. But there is so much waste being put up and kept away at the same time. A lot of good people tend to throw themselves away. And for their sake, I would like to speak, even if nobody hears me. Because even if somebody were to speak, right? Again, the whole harkening back to the Fulgrim's quote of everything's going towards complexity. In the average day-to-day function, where the humble starting YouTube video is more edited, more produced, more everything than anything back in 2007, which is the point that I tried to make before going on a side tangent like a fucking schizo. It's becoming harder and harder for the average man to express himself, I guess. Especially if you have so much to say at an initial point. I hope to God I can refine it. I hope to God I can cut up these speeches into 10-minute tidbits and be like, oh, I'll put some, some gameplay over it and say my piece in a timely manner that would respect your time. I might do that. But for those wider rants, for those self-therapy sessions, for those getting shit off my chest because who knows where the fuck I'll be or if I'll be, I'd rather do this. Steam overlay Lamau, I kind of... Alright, yeah, I'll probably like put a little tarp over it or some shit. But yeah, that's generally what I wanted to say. Closing words, welcome to Radio Tower. I hope you'll enjoy your stay. I hope that whatever topics we choose won't be, forcing edginess, because I kind of tend to get swept up by what my friends tend to say. I hope we'll be able to keep on topic. I hope that we'll be able to, at the very least, provoke something, anything, really, within the viewership, if at all any viewership is present. And a final thank you to everybody. Um, be you returning people from the podcast, be you anybody new who just stumbles upon this YouTube video for whatever reason, be it anybody in my IRLs who didn't fucking hear the warning where I told you very politely to unsubscribe from the channel and carry on about your day. And I will say this here for anybody who didn't listen to the video, who didn't pay attention. I will say this in a language you can understand, okay? חבר'ה, תקשיבו. הערוץ הזה הוא למטרות אישיות כרגע. אני לא הולך להעלות פה שום תכנים בריאים או ברי אינפורמציה. כל מה שהייתי צריך להעלות למען שותפיי לכיתה, העליתי בפלייליסט פרטי. אם מישהו אי פעם חוזר לפלייליסט הזה, תישארו שם, תתרחקו מהערוץ הזה. אוקיי? בגלל שאני באמת, אני לא רוצה להרוס לכם את המצב רוח. אני לא רוצה פשוט תשבשו את הרצף היומי שלכם, את קו המחשבה או כל דבר אחר, אוקיי? אז בבקשה, תמחקו את ההירשמות מהערוץ, ותמשיכו עם היום שלכם, כאילו, תהנו, בכיף, באמת, אני מקווה שאתם מצליחים, אני מקווה שהכל הולך טוב, וזהו בגדול. סורי, תודה וביי. להתראות. So gentlemen, I would like to dub this, I guess, not really desperate episode of my life, but rather one where I wish to put my mental affairs in order as the death march. It's not going to be quick. It's not going to be beautiful. It's not going to look nice. It's not going to put on a show with good taste. It's just me. It's just a weirdo rambling into a computer when he has the time and the mental acuity to do so. Thank you. God bless you. And I hope that I and you will be here again. We'll talk later. Good night.